What up, Get Up Nation? My name is Ben Biddick, the host of the Get Up Nation podcast and co-author of Get Up, The Art of Perseverance with former Major League Baseball player and CEO of Lurong Living, Greenberg. Recently, I had the honor and privilege of speaking with Ashton Cantou. Ashton is the CEO of Intrinsic Motivation, where she works as a transformational life coach and speaker. Ashton founded the Intrinsic Beauty Program for women. She's certified as a dream builder coach with the Life Mastery Institute. She's described how she has learned through many trials and hard lessons that events some describe as failures are actually life's feedback for growth and success. She's passionate about supporting people to achieve excellence and helps to empower and educate people on how to tap into their unlimited potential. Ashton, thank you for joining me on the Get Up Nation podcast.
Also grateful for the opportunity. So thank you for creating the space and the platform to talk about these really important things that impact all of us.
Absolutely. And I am grateful as well that you've taken time to share your journey with us. You have so much to offer, and I've been following some of your social media accounts, and you're creating content that's taking people from a place where they might not be happy with where they're at. You're helping them get to the place that they want to go. I look forward to diving in here and hearing your journey, where you found that for yourself, and now make it available for others. But first of all, before we get into that, you currently live in Texas, correct? Are you in the Dallas area?
Dallas area, North Texas.
Will you share a little bit about your business?
Sure. With Intrinsic Motivation, what I'm doing is working with people one-on-one. I'm a personal life coach, and the structures are different because my background is education, so I've kind of learned that every learner is different, and it's not a one-size-fits-all sort of deal. So although I do have programs, it's very much a co-creation process. Imagine you were going to buy a house, right? And you were going to build a custom home. And you go to the architect. Well, I kind of sit and help people blueprint out that picture of really what they want to create in their life, and then create the plan to get them from their A to B as quick as possible. And that's the fun thing with Dream Builders, because it's very results-driven, but it's much deeper than that. And people come in to work with me thinking that, I want the money, the car, the relationship, and it's all of this very surface-level, tangible stuff. And there's also all the stuff underneath that's blocking them from getting there in the first place. So it's more of a deep dive process when you work with me. It's not surface, but the results come because everything on the outside is a reflection of what's going on within.
You've described how life has not always been easy for you, how you spent many years working against yourself. Can you describe some of that adversity you experienced and what kind of unhealthy patterns or behaviors developed as a result?
Yes. Okay. So just imagine hopping in a boat on a stream and trying to go upstream for almost a decade of your life. Like, that has to be exhausting, right?
Right.
And for almost a decade of my life, I literally rode my boat of action upstream, and it was just exhausting. It was the same patterns, the same lessons showing up over and over again because I wasn't really getting the message. And it started young. It actually started in my early teens, 14, 15 years old. The ignition was lit with a broken home. And I just did not have the coping skills. I did not have the social, emotional tool set to deal. And at that point in time, I chose to not cope. I chose to numb and to just do anything to avoid having to feel the feelings that I was going through, which were anger, which were resentment, abandonment, just all of these just really low vibrational feelings, guilt, frustration, and I was living in that feeling tone. And the adversity really kicked in. I mean, we could talk about the inner battles, or we can talk about how it showed up on a tangible. What kind of direction would you like to take there, Ben?
If we could do both, like you're saying, our internal situation creates our external.
Let's get to the root of it. So we had a lot of school of hard knocks. We're talking fights. We're talking jail time. We're talking being checked into rehab, being told you're going to the dentist at the age of 17, and being checked into rehabilitation, outpatient. Now, mind you, I'm class president, team captain, honor roll student, and living this life with this mask of I'm okay, I've got it all together, I'm a leader. Really, I was feeling broken inside when really I just did not know what my next step was in life. It's no different for adults. It's this feeling underneath. So for me, it was really this underlying sense of lack of self-worth, lack of really this sense of deserving. And that's the foundation that I work with my clients on. It's really, really getting grounded in the who am I? The who I am I question, and answering that question first and getting grounded in that truth. Everything else can build upon that. But if that's not solid, it's like the second I would get, and I know this happens for many people, but the second I would get to my next level of success, I would self-sabotage it. I would sabotage my progress because I just didn't deem myself worthy of being there. My mind hadn't caught up to where I was actually showing up. It came to the point where I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I couldn't blame anymore. I couldn't play victim anymore. And it was this moment of radical responsibility, literally having to look myself in the mirror and kind of parenting myself in the sense that you are responsible for your life. You're responsible for the results in your life. You're responsible for the good things and the not so fun things. But that's good news because that means you have more power than you think.
Right.
And in fact, I listened to the video this morning, but it was like 4 years ago, and I said, the only one stopping you, blocking you is you. And that's going to happen when the person in the mirror focuses on obstacles that aren't even here. So don't listen to the person you see in the mirror. Focus on the person that you want to be and develop individual action steps and set goals to make your dreams become a reality. And that's what I did. I just focused on who I wanted to be, and I stopped identifying with the story of who I was.
During that process, was it largely just you dealing with these things and thinking this through on your own, or did you have anybody that was impactful in your life that was able to speak to you through the pain?
Great question. I actually did the lone wolf thing. I isolated myself. I was pretty successful at most of my, career endeavors and education endeavors and modeling career and anything else, So I very much wore the mask. The anxiety too. I mean, I didn't even tell you all about the other things, the emotions that you go through with traumas. And I had eventually landed myself in an abusive relationship. And walking away from that was very powerful. It's a very empowering moment for me to show up for myself. And that's really the underlying message, is that each day we get a choice. We get a choice to show up for ourselves. And it's an act of self-love. And we have to be able to recognize when we're not making that choice and really question why not.
So in these moments when you're hurting, you're angry, you're frustrated, disoriented, you feel like you're living a lie, you've got anxiety, all of these things going on within you. What was your approach when you're in those dark moments? Once you started really realizing that you were sick and tired of being sick and tired, what kept getting you up when you were at those low points? Was there something you knew internally that you saw yourself in the future, or what?
Man, in those moments where you are literally down on your knees, where you're broke, like you're feeling like, I just snapped in half. How did I get down here?
Right.
When you get knocked down in life, surrender. That's my rule of thumb right there. Surrender to something greater than yourself. Surrender to a belief in something greater than yourself that you know, if you trace the dots going backwards, everything, no matter how bad it seemed at the time, was actually working in your favor. It's very difficult to not claim that. I don't know many people that can't really look back and connect dots and see, hey, that actually did work for me. If they have some guidance maybe to get there. Surrendering in those moments is huge. And asking for support. There is no way that I could have made the progress, the transformation, anything that I've accomplished without support. And for me, that was huge because, as we mentioned, I was trying to do it all on my own.
I see.
And I would take 2 steps forward and 10 steps back because I didn't have anybody to help me with my blind spots. I didn't have anybody to hold me accountable. I didn't have anybody to hold a mirror to me and remind me of who I really was in those times of doubt.
What supports did you use, and how did you receive the value from those?
So some fell into place naturally, and it was almost a lot of it by happenstance. It was just small groups around the community that I would join, and the next thing I knew I'd be leading. And I really did make a decision to deep dive into transformation when I signed up for Life Mastery Institute. That was major commitment. It was a huge risk financially for me, and I just knew that I had to do it, and I did it. It was the best decision I ever made. The same program that I used, besides the one that I created for women, Intrinsic Beauty, the Dream Builder program, is exactly what I went through. And the transformation I had personally, the way I was able to release some of the resentment, the way I was able to move through some of the lies I'd been telling myself about me and really take on a new, more empowering stance and identity in life. That was one thing. And then I just continued. I continued to hire coaches and mentors and people that could really hold space and grow me. And I just fell in love with the process of revealing who I really am.
Is there something you do or see or reminded by where you just get those feelings of my life matters, I have value, I am so thankful to be alive? What are the things that are powerful to you in that way?
Yeah, I mean, anytime somebody reaches out to me personally, obviously that's a huge affirmation that you're in alignment with purpose. When someone says, wow, I really needed to hear that today. I mean, it's literally one of the best, most fulfilling feelings out there. But even just in the small things in the embodiment from day to day, the smiles and just the energy that you can walk away knowing you bring to the table, I feel like just my awareness of how I be or how I show up now, I think I'm grateful for that because I can even, I'm awake enough now that I can see it, whereas before it was almost like going through the motions. So I have more appreciation in those moments where I see myself serving. And I'm almost standing back as an observer, and I get proud. And I can observe, wow, you've come far. Or a moment when someone triggers me, for instance. I mean, my goodness, we all have our triggers.
Right.
And how I interact with my family now, for example.
Sure.
15 years ago, who knew if I would ever have relationships with either of my parents? I mean, there was just so much hurt. And unless there was forgiveness present, it just wasn't going to happen. And
right.
It's possible.
Amazing.
It's all possible.
When did you realize that what you had experienced personally during this process had immense value for other people?
Actually, as a 19-year-old. So I was 19, and I remember saying, I'm going to be a life coach because the assistant principal I was working with, I was a first grade student teacher, her daughter was struggling. She was struggling in some decisions that she was making as a high schooler, and she had me start mentoring her, and I just fell in love with it. And the girl just turned around, and she just tapped right into her passions and really came into her own, and it was just a really, whoa, experience for me. Like, did I have a hand in that? And it just kind of lit this fire of a dream for me, and I started reaching out, but I diminished myself. I said, no one's going to take me seriously. I'm too young. I need to get more experience. I need to have a certification. And I held off on it for 4 or 5 years. Very sad, but yes, young.
Will you share something a client has told you recently as a result of your services that's brought them to a new space or given them the ability to find their self-value or achieve what they're pursuing?
Yes. I mean, goodness, there's a list, right? But some of the big ones, the gold ones that stand out to me are connecting people to their why. Getting people really locked into their passion, their purpose is something that I know my people really just fully feel in alignment and appreciative of that feeling of, yes, I'm right where I need to be. I'm on track. This idea of clarity, this idea of sense of purpose, like living life on purpose, on track, is one thing that I get. Another thing is this freedom from self-criticism, self-judgment, from failure, this freedom from really the limiting beliefs, from really these thought patterns that don't serve them. So everybody's are different, but one of the biggest shifts for people is the fact that I can hone in and work with them to identify the exact limiting beliefs that are stopping them from getting what they want out of life. And once we're able to do that, regular seeds are no different than thought seeds. So it's literally the system of derooting these weeds in the brain and the mind and then planting more empowering seeds and then nurturing those seeds. And it's freedom. It literally does shift their life. I think they're just almost dumbfounded. Like, I can't believe just that one mindset shift, just that one thought, or that one story that I've been telling myself my whole life was really the thing standing in my way to greatness.
Get Up Nation is largely about resilience. As you address Get Up Nation, is there any message that you have for them from your perspective, a word of encouragement or anything that you've been dealing with that seems to be a trend with clients lately, anything that you would offer to people who are dealing with adversity, looking to us for inspiration, insights, and empowerment?
Number one, the power breathing you, the very power that woke you up this morning, the one that's pumping your heart right now, the one that is rising your chest up and down as you take every breath, it is greater than any circumstance you ever face. And when you're feeling knocked down, when you have all of this stuff coming at you and you're overwhelmed by it or you feel like you are at the bottom, you have to realize that you're allowing your circumstances to control your happiness. And happiness is an intrinsic job. So the best thing that you can do is step outside the circumstance, get outside your mind, get in your body, get outside, get in nature, get in movement. If you like basketball, if you like to dance, go do it. Transmute that energy into power. Transmute that fear into action. And the thing is, rock bottom is one of the most beautiful places to be. You cannot see that because you're down there. But as soon as you get out from down there, you're going to be on a whole nother level than you were before. Whole nother level. So it's keeping your eye on the vision. When people lose hope, it's because they've lost clarity. If you're feeling in despair, if you're feeling like the world's against you, you have to realize that life is not happening to you. Life is happening through you, and you have to take radical responsibility for your life. and understand that nothing's permanent, that you can totally shift the entire direction of your life by shifting your thoughts and your self-talk. And it's all uphill from there. It's an all uphill spiral from there, or it's a downward spiral if you choose to play victim. So I would say get support if you don't feel like you can do it on your own. Believe that there's still a reason you're here, because you wouldn't be here if there wasn't.
Ashton, I always end the show with 6 questions to help my audience understand the brilliance of my guests. Will you run through these 6 quick questions with me?
Sure.
All right. Who are you thankful for today?
I am thankful for my connection, for my higher power. Very thankful for the ability to kind of cast my worries upwards and sometimes just release and surrender to the will of the universe, to God. So very thankful for that.
Amazing. And then what are you thankful for today?
Oh man, I am thankful for this opportunity to serve. This lights me up, and I feel like full cup over here. Super thankful.
How do you fuel the fire within you?
Doing things like this, but honestly, one of the biggest things for me is surrounding myself with other servant leaders, surrounding myself with people who are also in the game of helping people. It's very fueling, and it's like almost like a match to a gas. It just ignites me.
Love it. What was one thing adversity taught you to value?
Adversity taught me to value the struggle. There's always value in the struggle. It's where the growth is at. It's the best place to be, like I said, because you have a blank canvas and you get to co-create your reality. So to value the struggle.
What are you doing today you never thought you could?
Sharing my story, sharing pieces of me that I didn't want people to know, being vulnerable for the sake of people that need to hear a little word of encouragement.
Kara Golden, who's the CEO of Hint, described the questions people won't ask another person, or the concerns people have where they won't talk about it with their friends. If you can provide them a service at that point, that is a very powerful thing, because you're going to meet people in the heart of their need and in a place where they might be afraid to admit their vulnerability, but you will feed them and nourish them if you can provide them with a service that meets them right there. And I love that that's what you're doing. And that's what I'm hoping to do as people get into our social media, see the content that you're producing, where they may be at the beginning too afraid or nervous to talk about vocally, but they can get it online, they can get it through these avenues, and it can get them to the point where they recognize how much value they have, of what is possible for them. Maybe it'll take months, maybe it'll take a year, but to have them reach out to you, or to have them just subscribe to Get Up Nation, to get into these safe places where people can hear these conversations and realize I struggled or I failed, to have them recognize that we're all people and that nothing is impossible, and that we can achieve amazing things regardless of what our yesterday was, and how. And I kind of getting off track because we still got one question to go, but I just felt the fire at that point. I just wanted to bring it because I appreciate you making yourself vulnerable, sharing your story, being authentic, because that will create so much more power than somebody that is just trying to paint a picture or play a game or be a persona. And I don't want any of that. I want real people telling the truth so that we can really truly liberate people out of their pain. So thank you.
Yes, I have to throw one little icing on your cake. And failure. Let's get back to failure. 2 things that we have to understand about failure that's absolutely crucial is that failure is a stepping stone. Failure is feedback, and you use it to course correct and put you right back on the direction you're meant to go in the first place. When you identify with failure, that's where you get stuck. It's not who you are. It's simply a directional mechanism to guide you in the right direction. And it's feedback, and you have to reframe the way you look at failure.
Love it. All right, and now my final question: what will you do tomorrow that you never thought you could?
I hadn't thought about it until you asked me. So I was kind of mulling over this one, and I thought, well, maybe I should do something that I wasn't going to do. And I guess I'm going to step out of my comfort zone and reach out to a writing coach to get some pointers on my first book.
I can't wait to read it. I want to get I got to get a signed copy.
Okay, deal.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with me on the Get Up Nation podcast, Ashton. How can people learn more about you and your work?
Follow me on Instagram. It's Ashton Cantou, ASHTONCANTOU. I do a lot of talks in there, catch some inspiration during the day on stories, and also through Insta TV. I have a website. It's Ashton Cantou lifemastery.com. Ashton Cantou, lifemastery.com, and you can see my contact information and learn how to schedule me through there. So I look forward to hearing from some people. I would love to learn more about your audience as well, so don't hesitate. If you have any questions, if you want to dive into this a little bit deeper, I'm your lady. I'm here to serve.
Thank you so much, Ashton, for your time.
That was so fun.
How important and powerful are the environments we create for our children? How valuable is it to not merely put food on the table, clothes on backs, and shelter our children from the blazing heat and freezing cold? How essential is it to be present, to be kind, to be stable, and to give them the gift of a home that is both a sanctuary and a training ground, a place where they experience how it feels to be valued and treasured deeply in a safe place, to be empowered and confident in what they have to contribute and impact the world in powerful and positive ways. I admire Ashton Cantou and the souls like her who create and find the power within them to recognize and welcome their value and their immense gifts, and banish the lies from others and their own minds that tell them they are less, who refuse to remain in stews of hatred, anxiety, or rage, and instead call forth their power, refusing to allow pain and problems to paint the universe as hostile, instead flourishing in the service of sharing the truth that this universe is infinitely good, involved, aware, and acting on our behalf, if we choose to allow it. The brilliant and driven Ashton Cantou is available today to help you find your courage, value, and significance, to help you thrive and become the person within you that you're proud of and satisfied with, the person you know you can be. She'll help you get there just as she did for herself.